We've been together for 9 years, 3 of them engaged. 2 beautiful boys. One 2 years old, the other not even 9 months. From the outside, we looked like that couple that just made it. High school sweethearts, still trying to make things work. But inside, I've been living with a stranger. Or maybe I've just been ignoring who he really is. It started off like most people. He wasn't a bad guy. Quiet, calm, funny when he wanted to be. But when our first son was born, something changed. Not in a dramatic, soap opera way, but in the slow, everyday kind of way that eats away at you. He never developed that natural dad switch, and I get it, most men struggle with it at first. But this was different. I wasn't just parenting alone, I was emotionally alone too. We'd have these come to Jesus talks, where I'd break down and tell him how much I needed him to step up. How exhausted I was, how I felt like a single mom in a 2-parent household. And every time, he'd say he heard me, that he'd do better, and for a week or two, maybe he would. But it always faded, like I was a to-do list he was checking off to shut me up. Then we had our second son. And just like clockwork, here we were again. Same cycle, same conversations, same empty apologies. But 2 nights ago, everything changed. We fought, again, over something simple on the surface. He forgot to clean bottles, which meant I had to scramble to wash them while rocking our screaming baby. But underneath it, years of resentment. And this time, he said things I'll never forget. He told me I make myself the victim in every fight. That I act like I'm some do-it-all parent, as if I don't literally do it all. He said I make the house unbearable. That I push him away. That he doesn't even want to be around me anymore. And then he said the one thing that made something inside me snap. You're the reason I feel like a failure. I dread coming home. He said it like it was my fault. Like the weight of everything he refused to carry had somehow crushed him instead of me. When I didn't respond, he apologized, but not in the way that matters. I'm not sorry for saying it, he said. I'm sorry for how brutal it came out. But I meant every word. I've hit my limit with you. That's when I knew something was broken between us. Maybe it had been for a long time, and I just kept taping over the cracks. Maybe I was too scared of being a single mom. Or too loyal to a version of him that didn't exist anymore. He reached out, tried to hold my hand, told me he loved me. I just stared at him. I couldn't say it back. And for the first time since we were teenagers, I truly didn't know if I could. I asked him to stay at his dad's for the weekend. He agreed without much resistance, which told me everything I needed to know. He came by today to see the boys. Played with them in the living room like everything was normal. I watched from the hallway. And all I could think was, how long have I been holding this whole thing together by myself? But there's something I haven't told him. I know things. I've seen things. And he has no idea. He thinks I've just been emotional. That I'm overwhelmed in imagining things. But he doesn't know I saw that message flash on his screen 3 weeks ago when he left his phone on the kitchen counter. He doesn't know I screenshotted it while he was in the bathroom. He doesn't know I've been watching. And if he really wants to tell me I'm the problem, fine. Let's see how he handles it when the truth starts bleeding through the cracks he thought I'd never look under. 3 weeks ago, I wasn't looking for trouble. I was just cleaning up after dinner, wiping down the counters, half distracted by the baby monitor. That's when his phone buzzed. Screen lit up with a message I wasn't meant to see. Sorry I couldn't come last night. Maybe this weekend? I miss you. No name, just a number. He had his notifications set to private, but not private enough. I stared at it for a second, waiting for some kind of rational explanation to come to mind. A friend? His sister? A group chat joke? But my gut said otherwise. And my gut hasn't been wrong in a long time. He walked in from the bathroom just as I snapped a screenshot and tucked the phone back into its original position. He kissed the top of my head and asked what we were watching on Netflix. I said something dumb about documentaries, but all I could hear was my own heart pounding. That was the moment the dynamic shifted. That was when I stopped begging him to see me. I didn't confront him that night. Or the next. Because here's the thing. I wasn't going to get emotional. I wasn't going to cry or throw accusations just to give him the upper hand. No, if he was cheating, I needed to be smarter than that. And if he wasn't, well, then I'd rather be wrong with proof than right with just a gut feeling. So I started paying attention. Little things, like how he suddenly cared more about going out for walks, in the evening alone. Or how he changed his phone password. Or how he started taking longer showers, and coming out with a smile he hadn't had in weeks, but not one meant for me. I even tested him one night. I told him the baby monitor app wasn't working and asked to use his phone to check the camera. He froze. Just for a second, but it was enough. Then he said, "I already fixed it earlier," and casually put his phone in his pocket like it was no big deal. I went to bed that night knowing two things. First, my fiancé, my high school sweetheart, was lying to me. And second, I wasn't going to be the broken one in this story. So I did something I never thought I would do. I logged into the iCloud account I set up for him years ago when he was too lazy to do it himself. He never changed the password. Not once. And what I found, let's just say, things started adding up fast. The locations, the calendar entries, the photos he thought he deleted. One picture caught my eye. It wasn't graphic. Nothing scandalous, but it was worse, in a way. It was him, standing outside our favorite bakery, our spot, with a woman holding a coffee cup in his hoodie. The one I bought him last Christmas. Her face wasn't fully visible, but the way they stood, the way their arms barely touched but clearly knew each other, that told me everything I needed. He had another life, maybe not a full one, not yet, but enough of one that he was giving parts of himself to someone else. Parts that used to belong to me. And now I wait, because I'm not going to scream. I'm not going to confront him. Not yet. I want to see how deep this goes. I want to know what she means to him. I want to know if he thinks I'm really that blind. Because the worst thing he could have done wasn't cheat. The worst thing he did was underestimate me. He came over again today, said he missed the boys. The way he played with them on the living room floor, you'd think he was father of the year. Laughing, tickling, lifting our oldest into the air while the baby clapped along. Picture perfect. But I noticed the little things. The glances at his phone every few minutes. The half smile that lingered after certain notifications. The quick trips to the bathroom with his phone in his hand, like he couldn't stand to be disconnected from her for more than 5 minutes. He thinks I'm still nursing my wounds from our fight the other night. That I'm sitting here, on the edge of a breakdown, wondering if I still love him. But what he doesn't know is that while he was on the floor with our kids, I had his iPad upstairs, mirroring his iMessages from the same cloud account he forgot was still linked. She texted him right in the middle of playing with our kids. "Can't wait to feel your arms again." Counting down the hours, throwing kisses. And right there, while our son handed him a plastic dinosaur, he replied, "Me too. I hate leaving you. Not, I hate leaving them. Not, I miss my boys. You." I'm not proud of myself for spying. I wrestled with it, still do, but I needed the truth, and now that I have it, it's not the anger that eats me alive, it's the clarity. I see him now for exactly who he is. And the woman he's texting? I dug a little too easily, actually. Her name is Vanessa, works in some property management office. She's older than I expected. Pretty in that try-hard kind of way. Divorced, no kids, lives alone. And based on their messages, she has no idea he has a family. He's playing house with her, telling her he wants to start over, that she makes him feel alive again. Said he never really connected with anyone before her. 9 years together, 2 kids, and he acts like I was just practice. I should be livid, but oddly enough, I'm calm. That deep, focused kind of calm you get when the shock has passed and you start making plans. Because the version of me he knew, the one who cried and begged him to change, she's gone. Now, I'm documenting everything. Screenshots, locations, timelines. I've got the proof, and soon, I'll have the advantage. He thinks this is just another break in a rough patch. That we'll talk, cry, and patch it up like always. But what he doesn't see coming is that this time, I'm the one quietly stepping away. Not to make him miss me, but to make sure when the fall comes, it's from the height he climbed on top of his own lies. He came over again yesterday. Brought muffins from that same bakery he once took her to. Set them on the counter like a peace offering. Said it was for the boys, but made sure to buy my favorite kind too. Like that was supposed to mean something. Like a chocolate chip muffin could undo the nights I spent alone, wondering why I wasn't enough. I didn't say much, just smiled. Let him sit at the kitchen table like nothing had changed. He talked about sleep schedules and teething, but I was only half listening. I was watching every twitch of his jaw, every time he avoided eye contact, the way his knee bounced under the table, like the guilt was boiling just under the surface. He still doesn't know I have his entire text thread with her backed up and time-stamped. Doesn't know I've been screen recording his messages, saving the photos they send, tracking his location when he works late, but somehow ends up 2 miles from her apartment. She lives near a dog park. I know this now because I've watched him linger there in his car, sometimes for 10-15 minutes, before pulling away. Like he's unsure if he wants to walk away from his double life, or just afraid of getting caught in it. He still kisses our sons goodbye like nothing's changed. But I see it now, all of it. The guilt, the rehearsed normalcy, the careful way he talks, avoiding anything that might trigger an argument. He's playing the part of good dad, hoping it'll buy him time. Maybe even forgiveness. But there's one thing he doesn't understand. I'm no longer looking for apologies. I'm building options. Yesterday, while he changed the baby's diaper, I met with a lawyer. Quietly, privately. No drama, just facts. Turns out, the house is in my dad's name. And since we're not legally married, his rights are, well, limited. The car's in my name. The accounts? I handle them all. And though we have kids together, every bit of documentation shows I've been the primary caregiver from day one. I've spent years making this house a home, for the kids, for us. Now I'm figuring out how to make it mine again. You want to know the twisted part? She doesn't even know about us. Not really, not the kids, not me. He told her we were separated, just staying together for the boys until finances sorted out. That's why he's in such a hurry now. He's trying to rewrite history while we're still living in it. And me? I'm letting him dig that hole. Every text, every lie. He doesn't know that while he's playing house with her, I've already started interviewing for part-time remote work. Started looking into daycares, asking quiet questions. He thinks he has time. But he doesn't realize the clock started ticking the moment he sent that first, "I miss you," to a woman who wasn't the one rocking his baby to sleep at 3 a.m. He showed up late today. Said traffic was bad, but his shirt was wrinkled and he hadn't shaved. Didn't smell like the usual cologne I gave him last Christmas, it was something new. Subtle, cheap. He kissed the boys and didn't look at me. Just hovered, asked questions like he cared. Like he wasn't checking his phone every 5 minutes under the table. But I could tell something was off. His hands were shaking when he took a sip of water. Later, I found out why. After he left, I checked the synced iPad again. I wasn't going to, honestly. I was planning to wait until the weekend, let things unfold. But something about the way he looked at me today, like he was scared, pulled me back in. And there it was, a fight, with her. I asked you a simple question, and you couldn't answer. How long have you been living with her? You said it was over months ago. So why do you still go back? You're making me feel like the other woman. He didn't reply for hours. Then finally, it's complicated. Please, let me explain when I see you. That was 2 nights ago. Today, he came here acting like a dad trying to keep it together. But inside, he's panicking. His perfect little secret is starting to unravel, and not because of me. Because she's starting to realize he's full of it. And still, I've said nothing. That's what makes this work. That's what lets me control the story. I let him think he's still running the show while I quietly gather the ending. Do you know how powerful silence can be? It keeps them guessing. It makes them paranoid. It gives you time to plan. This week, I met with another attorney, one who specializes in custody disputes involving unmarried parents. I gave her everything. The texts, the photos, the call logs, his location history, the babysitter logs showing I've been doing every school appointment, every doctor visit, every late-night fever check. I'm not trying to cut him out. But if this goes to court, he's going to learn the hard way what primary caregiver means. I also contacted a realtor, just to ask what the house could sell for. Not because I want to move, but because he doesn't know what leverage I have. And leverage is everything when someone starts lying for sport. I thought I was broken after that fight. That I had lost everything, love, the future, the safety. But now, I see more clearly than I have in years. The man I thought I knew is just a mask he wore. And it's starting to slip. And me? I'm not planning some dramatic exit. No screaming match. No suitcase on the front porch. That's his language: chaos, impulse, damage control. No, I'm just watching him unravel. And when the time is right, I'll be the one walking away. Not in anger, not in revenge, but in peace. Because the moment he said, "You make me not want to come home," he freed me. He just didn't know it yet. It's strange how quickly fear flips. A few weeks ago, I was the one lying awake at night, heart racing, wondering if I was crazy. If I was just hormonal. If I was overreacting. Now he's the one squirming. I can see it in how often he forgets to call before showing up. How jumpy he is when the kids ask him to stay for dinner. How he checks the windows when he pulls in the driveway, like he's expecting someone, or something, to be watching. Yesterday, he showed up looking like he hadn't slept. Had a small cut on his neck, like he nicked himself shaving in a rush. No ring on his finger. Not that he wore it often, but now? It's like he's trying to rewrite history by erasing the symbols of what we were. The boys don't notice, of course. They're still young. All they care about is that Dad brought ice cream and dinosaur stickers. But me? I notice everything. Especially the voicemail I accidentally overheard on the synced iPad last night. Her voice. "Vanessa, why are you lying? You say you're stuck, but I've been the one waiting. You say it's for your kids, but I don't even know their names. I'm not stupid, you know. I can't do this if you're just stringing me along." And then, the sound of her voice breaking. It was raw, real. I should have felt something. Maybe pity for her, maybe anger. But all I felt was confirmation. He's unraveling. And me? I'm just preparing. Last night, I backed up everything, twice. Not just the texts and locations. I included things most people wouldn't think to collect. Screenshots of our shared calendars from the past 2 years. Notes from parenting classes I attended alone. Photos of me at pediatric visits. Receipts showing I paid for everything from formula to preschool deposits. I even printed out copies and stored them off-site. Just in case. Because if this ends up in court, I want to be 10 steps ahead. He wants to act like this was mutual? Like we just drifted apart? No. He left, piece by piece. With every secret text, every lie to her, every quiet dismissal of me and everything I carried on my back so he could live without the burden of responsibility. He doesn't even know yet that I've spoken to his boss. Casual, of course. Nothing direct. Just a friendly call, asking about potential openings in my field, referencing my fiance's name, hoping they'd share how he's been taking all these random half-days. Turns out, he's used sick time on days he claimed to be working late. Interesting. But I won't use that. Not unless I need to. Because right now, it's about keeping him comfortable. Letting him believe he still has control. Letting him think I'm still confused, still heartbroken, still waiting for him to figure things out. When in truth, I've already figured everything out. He's not a bad father. Not yet. But he's on a dangerous path, neglectful, selfish, impulsive. And if he doesn't get his act together, I won't hesitate to go for full custody. Not out of revenge, but because our kids deserve stability. And I'm the only one giving it to them. The most ironic part? He still thinks I'm afraid of losing him. But every day he comes here, every lie he stacks on the last, I lose him a little less. And I gain something else. Clarity. This isn't about saving what we had anymore. This is about choosing who I'm going to be next. He came over today with a bag of groceries. Said he wanted to make dinner for the boys. Some half-hearted attempt at showing up again. Probably after Vanessa cut him off, or at least started to. I let him. I watched him chop vegetables in a kitchen he hadn't cooked in since our second son was born. He made a mess, left the water running, didn't know where we kept the baby spoons. The kids were thrilled, though. They didn't care about the missing seasoning or the overcooked noodles. They just wanted their dad. And that's when I knew. I wasn't going to take him away from them. But I was going to take myself out of the equation. After dinner, while the boys played with blocks, I asked him to come outside. Just the two of us. We stood on the porch where we once talked about baby names and backyard renovations. Now, it felt like neutral ground. I'm filing next week, I said. We'll draft a custody plan that prioritizes the boys and keeps things civil. But you and I, we're done. He didn't say anything at first. Just stared at the ground. Then he laughed, dry, bitter. You're seriously doing this? Over a few fights? That was all I needed to hear. Not. I'm sorry. Not. Let's talk. Just blame. Deflection. He still didn't know I knew everything. I had considered telling him, spilling every secret I'd uncovered. Every message, every location ping, every lie he told while I wiped spit up off my shirt and held our family together with frayed hands. But I didn't, because he doesn't deserve that part of me anymore. Let him wonder how much I knew. Let him piece together the timeline in his own mind. I handed him a folder. Inside were copies of the separation paperwork, my proposed parenting schedule, and a letter, not for him, but for the boys. A letter explaining that their dad and I love them, always will, and that none of this was their fault. He looked at the papers, flipped through them in silence. This is really happening, he muttered. No, I said softly. This already happened. You just didn't notice until now. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't need to, because walking away wasn't the loss. Staying would have been. He left without taking the folder. Said he needed time. I let him go. Later that night, he texted, "Can we talk tomorrow?" I didn't reply. I went upstairs, tucked the boys in, and read them a story about astronauts. About people who reach beyond what they know because staying grounded isn't always the safest place to be. Then I poured myself a glass of wine, sat on the porch, and for the first time in months, I didn't feel alone. I felt free.